Hey everyone, it's Karina with Karina Loves to Plan. Thank you for joining me in my little corner of the internet where I have a lot of green inks to swatch. This has grown, I think, exponentially in this past year. Let's go ahead and swatch them all. I will be swatching in my Hobonichi A5 notebook with 52 GSM Tomoe River paper. I will be swatching with my Browse ornament nib. I purchased this from PenChalet, and this is the 5mm size, and this is on my River City Penco nib holder. And then I'll also be doing the writing sample with the Nippon, I think, wait, what is this? The Fonte glass dip pen. I purchased this from a Momiji Market here in Edmonton. Let's get started. The first ink I'm going to swatch is from Amarillo Stationery. This is not too much, and I feel like this is the perfect month to be swatching my green inks because I've got the green nails going on. But I love doing these types of videos because I think it's always so good to be able to do a little recon of your collection and kind of shop your collection and see what you have, what you haven't used. But also, I mean, I know of a couple people that don't enjoy like swatching their inks over and over like I do, but I love it. And it's a way that I'm using my inks. So, okay, let's make sure that I have this uncapped here. So this is Amarillo Stationery. Not too much. That's so pretty. Look at that lovely, punchy, summery spring green. Next, I have Amarillo Stationery Teal Waistband. I know it's not exactly like, green, but I thought this one would definitely fit the bill. Yeah. Oh, I love this one. It's going to be so cool looking at all of the greens on the same page here, being able to see the differences. Oh yeah. Perfect. I'm already thanking you all ahead of time for sticking with me through this longer video. I was like, yeah, I can get this down to under 45 minutes. We'll see. Teal waistband. I love this color. This is the type of green that I really enjoy. Next, I have Anderillium Spirula Green. I purchased this from the, I think, Chicago Pen Show last year, and I haven't had the heart to get rid of it. Even though it's not normally the type of green that I would go for, I just haven't had the heart to get rid of it. I think by swatching it now, I will be more motivated to be able to put it into a pen. Whoopsie. Just for me, being able to do this type of exercise just also shows me how much my collection has changed since last year. So this is, oh, why is it doing that? Spirula Green. Yeah, nice, lovely, strong green. Next, I have Colorverse Alpha Pisces. This was one that I've had for years and is a favorite of mine. I love the grayish green of this ink. And the way that it goes down, it just looks so different. It's a more muted green, but I love it. And I know some people wonder, is it too light to be legible? And actually it's really, even in a fine or an extra fine nib behaves really well. Maybe a tad dry. Some people have said that it's a tad dry, but I haven't found too many issues with Colorverse Alpha Pisces. A favorite of mine for sure. The next one is another one from Colorverse. This is Colorverse Brain. I had this inked quite a while ago and there was still some of the sample left, so I have decided to keep it and probably try and ink it up in one more pen. Oop. Oh, that put a lot in there. So it's hard to really tell, but obviously I will show you all of these once they're all dried, but this one has shimmer. You can kind of tell from that already, but I do have samples in my collection where I have like two places that I keep samples, one in one tray, and these are samples that I've received and haven't used yet. And then the other sample tray is one that I've used and I want to keep for a future use. And I'm wondering, yeah, I'm wondering if I need to like consolidate that, or I don't know. I don't know. I'm just thinking as I review my collection, these are the thoughts that go through my head. It's like, what do I do with what I currently have? Anyway, Colorverse Brain. Pretty. Next is another one from Colorverse. This is Do Dong Forest. I purchased this from Atlas Stationers, and actually a lot of these are still available from Atlas, and you can use my affiliate link in the description below. Oh, another great kind of grayish green shade. I really prefer the more muted greens, like that tone, just stunning. And a little more here. Get some of that shading. I currently have this inked in, is it my Waterman? I believe I have this currently inked in my Waterman. Yeah. So this is Colorverse Do Dong Forest. Lovely. I have really enjoyed using this in my pen so far. Such a pretty green, but also great match for that pen. Next up, I have a sample of Diatramentis Jane Austen. Now you're probably going to notice that I'm not going to end up swatching Diatramentis Edgar Allan Poe just because there's so little left of it. And I need this for my paper swatches and my rose painting. But I've really enjoyed using Edgar Allan Poe, and by the end of this month, I will not have any left. So somebody had suggested, anyway, that Edgar Allan Poe is a different ink color under Diatramentis, and I can't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, this Jane Austen is also a very pretty green. Too much, too much. Oh, I cannot wait for that to dry. It's lovely. And you'd also notice I'm using a green, a green nib holder, all in the green theme today. Green has always been my favorite color outside of fountain pens, but it's only really this year that my love of green has come into my pens and inks. Gorgeous. I cannot wait to ink that one up. There's not a lot of it left, so I'm going to have to try and search for that. Diatramentis Jane Austen. These next set of inks are from Diamine. I have here Diamine Canal Side. This was given to me by pen friend Ina. We had only ever chatted over Instagram, and then she happened to be in my city one day, so we met up, exchanged some inks, and just had like a lovely long chat for a good couple of hours. And Ina has definitely influenced my purchases of green inks and pens. She is the authority, I think, on green. For me, anyway. But this canal side, I think, was a special edition for Diamine or one of their anniversary inks. Lovely. It's a lovely, dark, rich green. Gorgeous. Next is Diamine Cappadocia. I purchased this from Galen Leather, and I think this is a Galen Leather exclusive. It's one that I purchased without ever having tried a sample, and I don't regret that at all because it's really such a fun, Christmassy green, and I know I'm mentioning Christmas in August, but this one has such great shimmer. Great for Christmas and the holiday season, or if you just want to use a green with shimmer, why not? So Diamine Cappadocia. Fun. You can already see a little bit of the shimmer that's there. Lovely. Next, I have a sample from a pen friend. This is a Diamine Elf. This is from, can't remember which. Oh, this is from Diamine Inkvent 2019. Making sure that I don't have too much on my nib here. Oh, look at that. That's fun. I feel like this is one of those experiments where like, how many of these look so similar? And do I really need all of these? Probably not. But that's kind of why I do these ink explorations, because I like being able to see everything that I currently own, and then I just make decisions on what to purchase and what to keep from that point. Diamine Elf. Next, we have an ink that I purchased in London from Choosing Keeping. So this is, they call it Choosing Keeping, but it is a Diamine ink, and this is Forest Green. They sell these in the massive 80 ml bottles, and I'm very amazed that I was able to pack this in my suitcase and not have it leak or explode anywhere. And this one I purchased without a sample. It's just, I bought it because I liked it. And I've definitely changed that rule for myself over the years. A lot of the inks that I've purchased over the past couple of years, some of them I haven't, had a sample of and just decided to go for it. Diamine Forest Green. Lovely. I also realized I need to come up with more adjectives other than lovely. But anyway, we now have Diamine Green Umber. I purchased this from a store in Edinburgh, and they were absolutely lovely. The store is called The Right Stuff. If you haven't seen my video of the stationery stores that I purchased from while I was in London and Edinburgh, go and take a look at that. But I love this. This is definitely in line with my more muted greens that I like. And at first I thought it's going to be too similar to something else that I have, but I actually don't think it is. But also these 30 ml bottles from Diamine, I feel like are the perfect size and not too expensive. Just adding a little bit more here so I can get some of that shading. I think this one was definitely, I wish that a lot of the inks came in this particular size, like the 30 ml. And I know someone will probably argue with me that they don't like that, but I like the small 30 ml bottles. Green Umber. Look at the way that that's shading. It's lovely. Stunning. Gosh, same adjectives over and over again. I need a thesaurus. Next up is Diamine Meadow. I feel like I've swatched this a lot in the last couple of months, doing my spring inks, my summer inks, the inks that I can't live without type of thing. So I feel like this has been swatched pretty regularly, even though I haven't had this in a pen in a while. But I've also painted with this ink for some stickers in my sticker shop because it's just such a fun springy green, perfect for the leaves on the flowers, things like that. Oh, and I think if you're wanting, I say a generally good green or a safe green, this one is a great one. So Diamine Meadow. Very well behaved as well. I am a big fan of Diamine. The next ink from Diamine is Olive Swirl. This is from an Inkvent calendar from a couple of years ago and is one of my favorites. I say one of my favorites. I think I love all of these. Or it's like when kids say you can't pick a favorite child. And sometimes, okay, I have levels on how much I like each of these. Let's say that. And I like them all for different reasons. There we go. I really like the olive green shade of this, but I also really love the shimmer that you get with this too. Now this is the really tiny bottle. And I'm sure if I wanted to, I could buy the big Diamine bottle, but I don't think I will. I don't need that, but look at the shimmer in there already. So, so pretty. Next up, we have Sugar Snap, another green one. And I'm wondering, like, I haven't used this in a while, and I'm wondering if it is one that I want to keep. Whenever I do these ink explorations, it's also a good time for me to look over my collection and think, okay, what haven't I used? And now that I'm swatching it again, is it one that I do want to use? And actually, now that I'm swatching Sugar Snap, oh yeah, yeah, definitely fitting into the whole green era that I am currently enjoying. And there we go. Yeah, I went through like my whole dusty pink, and I still love dusty pink, don't get me wrong, and my whole brown inks, but now I'm just all in the greens whenever I'm in a shop or looking online for inks. It's either greens or chromo shading. That's the era I'm in right now, and I'm not mad about that at all. So that's Sugar Snap. Next, I have Dominant Industry Autumn Forest, and another one that I purchased from Galen Leather, and I've given away a few samples of this, and now I'm hoarding the rest of it because it's this really pretty green with pink shimmer. I love that shade of green, but then when you add the pink shimmer to it, oh, love that. It adds that extra layer of complexity to the ink. I haven't used this in a while either, so I think it's one that I will want to put in a pen come September or October. So Dominant Industry, Autumn Forest. Such a lovely color. Next, I have a Ferris wheel press ink that's maybe a green or maybe a brown. I don't know. It is Goose Poupon. And I know somebody mentioned, why am I mentioning the word poop in an ink video? Yeah, everyone poops. It's fine. It's just a word. And it is a specific color. but this one I wasn't sure. And now that I actually swatch it, I like that I'm swatching it next to Olive Swirl because it does have those like yellow, green, olive properties similar to Olive Swirl. And actually a lovely kind of yellowy green. So Ferris wheel, press, goose, coupon. A little bit more yellow than green, but still within that family. Then we have my most recent purchase. This is Ferris Wheel Press Moss Park Green. I purchased this from my local stationery store, Stylus. I have not yet inked this in a pen, but I am looking forward to doing so probably for the month of September. And look at that. It's a lovely soft green. I do keep saying lovely, but they are all lovely. I wouldn't own them if I didn't think they were lovely. Add a little, there we go. Get some of that shading. Yeah, I'm really into the shading of inks right now. And I know some wonder, like, are you actually going to see the shading in an extra fine or a fine nib? And yes, some of them definitely. And especially when you do the Zentangles, you'll see that more. Moss Park Green. Oh, look at that. There's a little bit of chromo shading happening in there as well. I really like that. The next ink is Ferris Wheel Press Queen and Castle. This one also kind of falls in the, is it green? Is it yellow? Is it, I don't know, but it's got shimmer. And just agitating that here. Now, while I appreciate, the bottle looking as pretty as it is, Ferris wheel press when it comes to like functionality of its bottles is not great, but there are some inks that I do love from them. Queen and Castle is one of them. Unfortunately, not one that is, I think, readily available anymore, but part of my greens collection. Gorgeous, gorgeous color. More on the olivey green yellow side, but has a little bit of pink shimmer. Queen and Castle. Another good one. Swatching these really makes me think like I wish that I inked more pens every month so I could use more, but at the same time knowing that if I inked more than 12 pens a month, I would get very overwhelmed. So yeah, trying to find that balance. And now we have Peter Moss from Ferris Wheel Press, one that I purchased from my local stationery shop. Why is this one so hard to open? There we go. And this one was one I had been looking for a little bit and wasn't sure if I would find it anywhere because it was sold out pretty much everywhere that I saw it online. And then I just walked into my local stationery shop and there it was. And I think actually my local stationery shop, Stylus, is an official retailer, like distributor for Ferris Wheel Press. So I was glad to see that they have so many. Perfect. Another lovely lighter green. And I thought this was going to be too similar to Moss Park Green, but this one feels a little, well, I say warmer, but it's hard for me to make that type of distinction. So Peter Moss. And the two are definitely different when I look at them. The shading in Moss Park Green, there's like a little bit of pinky gray that's happening in the chromo shading, and then we'll wait for this one to dry and see what comes up. Next, we have a few samples from a pen friend. So any samples that I have with numbers like these came from pen friend CR, and I haven't labeled them myself, but this one is Dominant Industry Savorite. And I feel like this one is a little bit more, I say teal from what I can remember. Yeah. Oh, lovely. There we go. I'm going to add a little bit more to just add there. See if I can add some shading to it. Because with the Browse ornament nib, if you are basically not lifting up the nib as you're writing with it, the only time that you're going to really get the pooling of ink is when you lift the nib. Let's see it right. So I'm just adding a little bit more ink to the swatch so you can see the shading that's happening here. Another great ink. The next ink I have here is Lamy Peridot, and here we go. I'm actually looking on Google to see the pronunciation, and actually the most common and widely accepted pronunciation in the gem and trade across America, North America is Peridot, but the French style Peridot is also considered correct. Okay. Oh, I love this darker green. But I think I have too much ink on the nib. I'm getting to that point in the video where as well I'm like, I've been filming for how long? And I'm wondering what to talk about. Yeah, I really like this dark green. And sometimes with dark greens, you have to be careful of like the sheening that happens, but this one isn't too bad. So Lamy Peridot. The next ink is a Lennon Toolbar Bird Monster, another one given to me by the lovely Ina. Ooh, making sure it's very well protected. Oh, there we go. Yeah, tweezers, not just for stickers. And funny with ink swatching, if I didn't have to film it for YouTube, I would, or yeah, I'd have a video on in the background or an audiobook. I find ink swatching actually quite relaxing. But when I have to talk to you all in my YouTube video, sometimes it's tougher to try and come up with things to talk about. There we go. Oops. But again, I like this shade, and I will wait for all of them to dry so that we can compare, but I really like the more muted green. This is Bird Monster. I just find this type of green so calming. Next is a new one to my collection. This is from Oblation Papers, and this is Sitka Spruce. This is not, or I purchased this at the Pacific Northwest Pen Show, and this was not the pen or the ink of the year. The exclusive Pen Show ink for 2026 was actually a brown ink, and I didn't purchase it, which would have been so different a year ago. A year ago, I would have been all over the brown ink. This year, I'm like, no, give me the green or give me the purple. Have you found that your tastes have changed over time the longer that you're in this hobby? And for me, I've surprised myself with how my tastes have changed, not just for ink, but for pens too. And as you may see in my collection videos, how my collection changes year on year. And I'm okay with that. Oh, really, really pretty green. And I'm running out of adjectives for all these greens, and I know some of them look very, very similar, but I'm okay with that because they just all evoke a different type of feeling. Sitka spruce. Next we have, this is number 16. This is Pelican Edelstein Olivine. I had this inked, I think last month or the month before, and I had it in as the ink for my Hobonichi A6 5-year journal. And I really enjoyed using this every day. I had to tell myself not to choose another green ink for my 5-year journal for the month of August. And I actually went with an ink that I wouldn't have normally chosen for my 5-year journal. I went with an orange ink, which I'm pretty proud of going outside of my comfort zone. But this olivine, I love that dark, moody, foresty green. I thought it would be really similar to, which one is it that I thought it was? Canal Side, but actually they're quite different seeing them on the page. And I will compare these, but you can see which greens I am leaning towards. Not all greens. There are certain greens that I don't seem to add to my collection, but others certainly. So that's Pelican Edelstein Olivine. Now moving on to Pilot, we have Pilot Iroshizuku Chiku Rin. Similar to Diamine Meadow. And I would find it difficult to choose between the two if I had to choose one over the other, because they're in that happy spring, summer green. I don't know. I feel like now that I swatch them on the same, I guess, area or same pages, that you can see a difference between these, which is why I've kept both in my collection for as long as I have. But as I swatch these, some of these I haven't used this year, or yeah, I'm just trying to remember like which ones I have used. And doing this type of exercise really makes me think I don't need any more ink, because I look at how many greens I have. The next Pilot Iroshizuku ink is one sent to me by a pen friend, and it's Fukuroku Ju. Fukuroku Ju. And this is one I had never seen before, so I was very glad to get a sample. And this pen friend was so generous, sending me 26 samples, 26 different greens, which really helped increase my green collection for this video. So thank you so much. And this one is much more vibrant than, for example, Oblation Papers right above it. And Roku Ju. And I find myself when I'm comparing these, I'm really figuring out what my preferences are out of all of these greens. So that's helpful as well. Okay, as this is drying, I'm seeing there is a little bit of sheen coming from Lamy Peridot. I lied, saying that it didn't have a ton of sheen. Whatever. So yeah, anyway, definitely a difference once it's dried. Now we have Pilot Iroshizuku Shin Ryoku, one that I purchased, didn't really like at the beginning, and then spilled half a bottle of it. And then this year have come to love it. And I never had the heart to sell this on or get rid of it, because my husband also loved using this, but now I'm hoarding it for my own personal use rather than for my husband. He can keep Shinkai all for himself, and I'll keep Shin Ryoku for myself. But yeah, I think a couple of years ago, I had spilled this all over my pen and ink journal, and for the rest of that year, it had the green stain all down the side of the notebook and even on the leather cover from Galen leather. It had a green stain on there. There we go. The last Pilot ink I have here is Pilot Iroshizuku Sweet Gyoku. Another more teal-ish one. So leaning a little bit more towards teal. Yeah, and actually when you compare it to everything else on the page, it looks blue. But then if you put this ink with the blues, it's gonna look green. So yeah, I'll leave it and include it in this page here just to have it as a comparison. Because also this was sent to me by my pen friend who grouped this with all of the green inks. Pilot Iroshizuku Sui Kyoku. A little bit more blue in terms of the green shade, but still really pretty. Next, we have an ink that I've had in my collection for years. This is Rohr and Kligner Alta Gold Grün. And one of my very first greens that I really, really loved. But it was also one of those greens that I saw in so many people's videos for inks that they would recommend. And you can see why. It's got a little bit more of an olive color to it as well, but it is that lighter green. And it's one that I really should use. I'm saying this about all the greens that I have here, is that I really should use them more. And I think that's the tough thing with having so many inks, but maybe only inking up maybe 12 pens a month and trying to make sure I'm using all of them, is that I'm never going to be, I mean, if I multiply that, so that's what, 12 pens a month, 12 inks a month, that is 144 inks. That sounds like a lot. But when you think about like the new inks that come out all the time, the inks that I haven't, or that I have in my collection that I have bottles of, and it's trying to make sure that I'm using everything is tough. But doing stuff like this where I'm swatching all of my inks just really helps me see what I have in my collection, but also I'm using my ink in this way, right? Right. Next, I have Sailor 50 States, and this one is number 22, North Dakota. This one is a lighter green. I haven't had a chance to use it yet. I had a sample of Sailor 50 States Alabama and used that and really liked it, but I finished it, so I no longer have it. This is a very light ink, and I'm wondering if it's gonna be way too light for writing with. I haven't used this yet in a pen, but I think painting with it would be so fun. And getting the chromo shading. Oh yeah. But yeah, I worry about whether or not it would be too light to be legible. So this is Sailor 50 States, North Dakota. It's a pretty color, but yeah, I worry about the legibility of that. Next, I have a teeny sample of Sailor Ink Studio 864. Now, when it comes to the inks that I decided to include in here, oh my God, just an ink splatter everywhere. Basically, I wanted to include all the green inks that I currently own as of today, including samples that I haven't yet been able to put into a pen. This one is, again, leaning more towards the teal. And I say I have a little bit of it to be able to do fun things like these swatches, but I don't know if I'd have enough necessarily to be able to ink it in a pen for a whole month, but definitely fun to play with. So Sailor Ink Studio, what's this one? 864. And especially when so many Ink Studio ones are being discontinued, I thought I'd give these a try. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this particular one, whether I give it to a friend who's going to use it or if I keep it just for painting. We'll see. Now I'm going to swatch Vinta Carnival, another one that I received or was given by a pen friend. I I love our little fountain pen friend meetups because really we just sit around the table swatching inks, looking at each other's new pens, and then we sit and eat and chat. And then I normally bring home anywhere from like 5 to 12 inks, which I really should stop doing. But this one was so pretty, I couldn't pass that up. But also, I mean, I'm also getting rid of inks. So it's a great way to pass the love, but also try inks at no cost. So Vinta Carnival. I like that shade of green. And I feel like there was something else that I swatched similar to that. But as these are all drying, they are actually looking very different, which is good. The next one from Vinta is Sirena. This one is a little bit of a lighter one. So we'll see. Some Vinta inks are known to be quite light and a little dry. But the shading is lovely. I feel like this may fall into the category of, yeah, too light. But the shading, again, is just stunning. And it looks green as it goes down, but then I feel like it's going to dry a slightly different color, kind of like Sailor Manyo Ayame, which I didn't include in here because I was like, is it green? Is it purple? I don't know. Again, amazing chroma shading. Vinta Sirena. I think in a finer and extra, a fine nib should be fine, but I do worry that it may not be legible. We'll see after it dries. Now I have Wearing Ghouls, The Autumn Night After 1,000 Years. I received this from Wearing Ghoul, and at first I wasn't a huge fan, and now that I am in my green era, oops, a little bit too much. Oh, yeah. With the shimmer too. Amazing. And I'm glad I decided to keep this on in my collection. I go through phases where I'm like, yep, get rid of it, get rid of it. And then some things stay and some things don't. Now it's drying a little bit more brown. I kind of feel like Sailor Manyo Shirakashi. Hold on, Autumn Night After 1,000 Years. I feel like Sailor Manyo Shirakashi is like, is it green? Is it brown? Kind of similar to this. And this definitely looks more brown now that it's drying, especially when you compare it to the other greens on this page. And even when I look at Vinta Sirena, it looks more blue and pink rather than green. Really interesting. And last but not least, we have Warringal Mad Hatter. I had swatched this at a fountain pen meetup local to me, and then I was like, nah, yeah, have to buy it. And I think this one was purchased from Atlas. Yes. There's just something about these more muted greens that I love. And maybe it's because I don't know what it is about the muted greens. Maybe it's due to the fact that some of the brighter colors, I don't know, maybe I'm sensitive to them just because I do have a little bit of light sensitivity with my migraines and headaches. So maybe that's why I lean more towards the more muted. I don't know. Me trying to explain that scientifically, these figure eights are not great. Ooh. But I'm excited for that to dry because I do want to kind of compare it to Green Umber or Dodong Forest and see how similar they are because I really like that green. I think that shade of green is probably my favorite amongst everything here. So I'll wait for these to dry and then I'll show these all to you. All right, so there the inks dried, and for the first 9, I'm also going to do my favorites out of these as well. The first 9, I really love Colorverse Alpha Pisces and Colorverse Do Dong Forest. I mean, Diamine Cappadocia, there's a bit of sheening, and that green shimmer is lovely, but it's not one that I reach for as much. So I think out of this set of 9, Colorverse Alpha Pisces and Colorverse Do Dong Forest are my 2 favorites. But just look at the shading that's happening here. It's just really love the shading in that one as well. For the next set of 9, we can take a look at how Diamine Green Umber. Stunning, stunning. Love the way that it shades. And then I'm falling in love again with Diamine Sugar Snap, but then I'm also kind of falling out of love with shimmers. I don't know what it is. Again, probably just a phase era thing. And then Dominant Industry Autumn Forest looks a little bit more brown than green, that base color, but that pink shimmer just puts it over the edge for me. Love that. And then Ferris Wheel Press Moss Park Green. Out of all of the greens in this, I used to love this one so, so much. And I still like it, but not as much as I really love Diamine Green Umber and Ferris Wheel Press Moss Park Green. There may be some recency bias in there because these are 2 newer inks, but out of this set of 9, I really love these 2. I thought these would be a little bit more similar, but when you swatch them, you can see how there's a little bit more pink in the chromo shading and a little bit more, I think, gray in here. And then even in the writing sample, you can tell Moss Park Green is a little bit lighter than Green Umber. Now we have our next set of 9, and which one is my favorite out of these? This one's a tough one because I loved Peter Moss when I first got it. This is a very, very beautiful fall ink, but I really like Linen Toolbar and I really like the Sitka Spruce, even though it's on the verge of becoming too bright for me. And I hate saying that because it's not. It's a very calming green. So out of the 9 in here, I really like these 3. These are really becoming more of my favorite. Not saying that none of these, or not saying that these inks, there's inks that I dislike out of them. I'm just saying which ones are my favorite out of these 9. But you can see there's a little bit of sheening in there as well. And yeah, the sheen in Lamy Peridot, and it's really dark and saturated. So yeah, the 3 that I really like in this are Sitka Spruce, Bird Monster, and Peter Moss. And then for the last 9, oh, this one's tough because that Mad Hatter is actually drying a lot more gray in this, which is interesting to me because I thought it would dry a little bit more green, kind of like Diamine Green Amber, but it's drying a little bit more gray. And I'm going to look through the original. That's not that notebook. The original notebook that I had swatched that in, where are you? Because when I had swatched this at my friend's house, I thought, yeah, Mad Hatter looks more like that, but this is looking more like this. I'm wondering what's going on here. Because, yeah, it definitely looks more gray. Huh. Interesting. I'll have to see what's going on with that because it looks more gray than it does green. And I know that my Browse ornament nib was clean. Interesting, because yeah, that's what it looked like when I swatched it, and it looks more like, maybe it was because it was so saturated. I don't know. I'll have to ink that up next month and see how we get on with that. But yeah, that's disappointing a little because even when I originally swatched it, when I got the bottle, it was not looking like that. It was looking like this. It does look a little bit more gray there too. Oh, interesting. And, the comparison to Dodong Forest looks a little bit darker. So maybe that's just the bottle. Maybe that's the way it is. I don't know. But look at Vinta Sirena. It doesn't even look green anymore. It looks pink. I like Carnival and Vinta Carnival in this one as well. Tough one. So there are all of my green inks that I currently own as of August 2026. And it's interesting to me how my taste changed, but also out of the green inks that I have, what I really liked a year ago versus what I like now is different. And I really like reflecting on that and really taking into account how my tastes have changed over time. But also, this is showing me as well maybe some inks that I could pass along, or some that maybe I really should put in a pen and see how we go from there. Things like that. Ink explorations like this, yes, while they take their time, is a great way to shop your stash and also use your ink and keep track of what you have, because as you can see, I have a lot of green inks. All right, so thank you for sticking with me for this long. Let me know how many green inks you have, or which one of these are your favorites, and let me know down below. Thank you all again so much for watching, and have yourselves a great day.